Namaskar, I am Dr. Aarti Chaudhary, Assistant Professor in the Department of Ancient Indian History, Culture and Archaeology at Basant Kanya Mahavidyalaya, Banaras Hindu University. I welcome you once again in this 12-week course titled History of Science and Technology in Ancient India from Harappan Civilization to 7th century CE. Today we are going to discuss Module 12 and Lecture 1. The title of Module 12 is Other Scientific Insights in Ancient India and Archaeological Methods, and the title of Lecture 1 is Zoological Sciences in Ancient Indian Literature. So, at first the learning objective of this particular lecture, and the first learning objective is to know the animal classification described in the literary sources. The second learning objective is to evaluate the role of animals as depicted in the text. And the third learning objective is to understand nature and wildlife observations of the ancient scholars. So, in this lecture we are going to discuss these subtopics, which is animal studies in the Charak and Susrut traditions, Jain and Buddhist literature, zoological concept in the writing of Panini and Patanjali, the division of animals according to Prasastapad, and Kalidas depiction of nature and wildlife. The study of animals or zoological science has deep roots in ancient Indian traditions beyond the Vedic corpus. The Charak Samhita and Susrut Samhita classify animals by habitat, anatomy and medicinal value, demonstrating an advanced understanding within the medical sciences. Jain works such as the Acharanga Sutra and Tattvartha Sutra categorize animal according to sensory faculties, blending biological classification with ethical doctrines. Buddhist literature, particularly the Jatak tales, records insightful observation of animal behavior and ecological relationship. In linguistic tradition, Panini's Ashtadhyayi reflects precise knowledge of animal names and classifications, highlighting their integration into grammatical and cultural system. In classical Sanskrit literature, Kalidas works, especially Ritu Sanhar, offer vivid and sensitive portrayals of diverse animal species, indicating detailed familiarity with their natural characteristics. Animal studies in the Charak and Susrut tradition. The division of the animal world into four groups based on their mode of birth, first introduced in the Vedic literature, gained widespread acceptance in later texts and was frequently referenced in the Puran and the Mahabharata. Both the Charak Samhita and Susrut Samhita followed this classification, providing significant elaborations on the categorization of animal within the context of medical and therapeutic practices. The Charak Samhita and Susrut Samhita, two foundational medical works, provide comprehensive list of animals from various categories known at that time. They also offers valuable information on animal anatomy, classification, ecology, dietary benefits and their relevance to human physiology. While both texts follow a similar approach, Charak mainly discuss parasites, whereas Susrut includes a wide range of creatures such as leech, insect, spider, scorpions, frog, fish, reptiles, especially snakes, birds and mammals. According to Charak, the classification based on the mode of birth, the particular animal classification. So, according to Charak, animals are categorized into 4 main groups based on their mode of birth. First one is Jarayuj, placental animal, for instance human and quadrupeds. Andaj, egg-borne animals, for instance fish and reptiles, birds. Svedaj, spontaneously or asexually reproduced animal, for instance worms and mosquitoes. Udbhij, animal born from plant based organism. Charak also mentions that each group contains numerous subdivisions resulting in a wide variety of forms and characteristics among organisms. Charak classification of animals based on dietary habits and habitats. Charak classified animals according to their dietary habit and habitats. His classification includes Prasah, carnivorous and non-carnivorous animals and birds that capture their food by force. Second one is Anop, animals that live in marshy or waterlogged areas or graze along river bank. Third one is Bhusaya or Vislesya, subterranean or cave dwelling animals. Varishaya, marine and freshwater animals. Jalkara, amphibious animals. Jungle, animals particularly deer that live in dry, hilly or forested region. Viskir, birds that scatter their food while picking. And Pratuda, birds that pierce or tear their food with their beaks, for instance worms and fruits. So, we can understand that the division is basically based on their birth, the birth position of the particular animal and their living style at that particular time period. It is really very much interesting at that time period of Charak and Shoshrud, they were well known to these animal categories and they explained it elaborately. They also know the value of these animals in this environment because they were known, especially the ecosystem, the balance of the ecosystem and the balance of the universe on the basis of all these living beings, because they were a good doctors, medicine, they wrote big literature of medicine and surgery. So, they know how to protect these all animals because they are so much useful for the protection of the particular ecosystem and for the medicinal purpose they are also very important. So, both Charak and Shushrut widely just studied about all the animal features and they categorized it on the basis of their living style and on the basis of their birth. Charak classification of harmful and poisonous creatures. In addition to dietary classification, Charak also address harmful and poisonous animals like Krimi Varg, parasites and worms. Charak divides parasite into 4 categories based on their location. Parasites in body excretion like Yucca, lice and Piplica ants. Blood parasites, those living in blood like Audumber, Jantu Mata, Kesada, Lomda, Lomdweep and Sorsa. Next is mucus and flame parasite, and that is Antarada, Kuru, Darbha Pushpa, Hridayada, Mahaguda, Sogandhika and Udarvesta. Feces dwelling parasites, and that is Kakeruka, Leliha, Mekaruka, Shashlaka and Sosuruda. So, these are the basic characteristics or category of the parasites which is mentioned by Charak. Gomayu Varg, poisonous creature. Charak lists various creatures with poisons, fang including snakes, Asivisa, leech, wall lizard, spiders, scorpio, frog, fish, mongoose, flying insects, centipedes, hornets, tiger, lion, dogs and hyenas. Now, according to Sushrut, animal classification based on mode of birth. In the earlier part, we have seen the classification of animals according to Charak on the base of birth, on the base of their living style, and now we are moving towards to the observation of Sushrut, where Sushrut mentioned some other category related to the animal categorization on the basis of their birth, on the basis of their living pattern. So, now we can see Sushrut divides animal into 4 main groups: Swedaj, born from moisture and heat. For instance, they are worms, insect and ants, Krimi, Keet and Pipalika. Jarayuj, placental mammals, carnivorous quadrupeds, Vyal and herbivorous Pasu. Andaj, egg laying animals like birds, snakes and reptiles, Sarisrip. Again, Udbhij, creatures bursting forth from the ground like frog and coccygeal insect. Sushrut classification of animals based on dietary habits and habit. Sushrut classification of animal is divided into 2 primary categories, with each further subdivided into 13 species specific groups based on their dietary habits, natural habit and characteristics. So, the first one is jungle, land animals. The jungle, wild animals like deer, antelopes characterized by their strong leg and quick feet. These animals thrive in dry, open and environmental and are known for their agility. Next is Viscera. This category includes birds that scatter their food while picking it up, such as certain species of crows and other foraging birds. These birds exhibit unique feeding behavior, spreading their food while collecting it. Next is Pratud, birds that pierce and tear their food with their beaks. This group includes birds like vultures, kite and owl, which hunt and tear apart their food. Next is Guhasya, carnivorous animal that live in caves or hollows. This group includes larger predators such as lion, tiger, wolf, hyena and bears. These animals are known for their hunting skills and their dependence on cave or dens for shelter. Next is Prasaha, a broader category of bird of prey such as vulture, owl and kites that capture and consume animals by using their sharp beaks and talons. Next is Paranamrag, arboreal animal or tree dwelling creatures including monkeys, ape, squirrels and some reptiles and carnivorous. Villacia, subterranean animal that live in burrows or holes. This group includes various rodents, insectivorous and reptiles that have adapted to underground living conditions. Next is Gramya, domesticated herbivorous animals that live in human settlement such as horse, mule, camel, goat, sheep and cattle. These animals are typically used for agriculture, transportation and as source of food. So, on the basis of these category, we can understand the whole group of the animal which is studied by Sushrut is basically categorized on their food style, on their habitat style and on their birth style. They also know about the different kinds of living style pattern of that animals, that birds, and it is very surprising that at that time period Sushrut were engaged in surgery work, and the classification of that type of animal regarding the birds he already discussed in his text. So, the proper management, the proper utilization of this kind of animal is also studied deeply by Sushrut, which is mentioned in his text Sushrut Samhita. Now, Sushrut description of worms, poisonous animal and leech. Noxious and poisonous animals. Poison of celestial serpents lie in their breath and that of terrestrial ones in their fangs. Poisonous parts of cat, dog, monkey, makar, frog, paka matasya, a type of fish, monitor lizard, godha, molluscus, snails, a type of insect, geckos and other are found in their teeth or claws. Among other noxious creature, Sushrut recorded 18 kinds of rats, 67 families of insects and 30 types of scorpio. Scorpions are classified based on intensity of their venom, and that is mildly poisonous, mandavish 12 type or originating from cow dung or rotten substance. Second one is moderately poisonous, madhyavish, 3 types described by Sushrut, and third one is high poisonous, Tikshanavish, 15 type developing from the decomposed body of snake and poisoned animals. Sushrut provided detailed description of the symptom and effects caused by the stings of each type. Sushrut divided spiders into two categories. For instance, 8 type of spiders that are fatally poisonous and 8 that are mildly poisonous. He also classified centipedes into 8 kind and described 8 venomous type of frog. Venomous snake in Sushrut classification. Sushrut provide an extensive treatment of snake, categorizing them into 5 distinct groups: venomous and non-venomous, including a hybrid variety. The venomous group include Daravikara. This group comprises 26 varieties of cobras. They are hooded serpents known for their swift movement and with marking resembling chariot wheels, plough, umbrellas and similar symbols. Second one is Mandali, a second group of venomous snake with 2 species. These are thick body, slow moving, nocturnal creature characterized by circular or ring like marking on their bodies. They do not possess hood. third one is Rajimat, probably coral snake. The third group consists of 10 types of venomous snakes. These are non-hooded, nocturnal and marked by a series of dots of various colors on their upper bodies and sides. So, the study of snakes in the ancient period, in the ancient texts through the Vedic literature seems to be that was very important, because we found a elaborative description regarding the snakes on Vedic literature as well as, and it is also available the Vedic the description in Charak Samhita and Sushrut Samhita, where the snakes got very prominent position. They categorized the snakes in different category on the basis of their poison, on the basis of their skin, on the basis of their structure, on the basis of their length. So, it is really very interesting that at that time of period, the study of snakes was deeply studied by the scholars. Next category is leech. Sushrut provided detailed information on the use of leech jalok for drawing out impure blood from the body. He divided aquatic leech jalok into 12 species, of which 6 are venomous and 6 are non-venomous. The different species of leech were described based on details such as color, size, girth and distinctive body markings. Sushrut detailed the natural habits and geographic distribution of various leech species. According to him, venomous leech originate in stagnant and turbid water formed from the decomposed urine and feces of toad and venomous fishes. Non-venomous leech, on the other hand, arise from the putrefied steams of aquatic plants and common zoophytes found in clean and clear water. Leeches took very important place in the text of Sushrut Samhita, and in the Vedic text it was also very important, and in modern period in the field of Ayurveda they are also very significant in terms to treatment for the body, and it is also mentioned here they drawn the blood from the body, and now in modern Ayurveda they are useful for the treatment of the different acne, treatment for the hair transplantation in the Ayurvedic way of treatment. So, these are really very important. Now, Jain and Buddhist literature. The key aspect of Umaswati's classification system. Animal possessing two senses, touch and taste, which is described. These are the simplest form of animal possessing only the basic sensory faculties of touch and taste. The animals in this category are considered to be the most primitive in terms of sensory perception. Let us see the different category, and that is Apadhika, worms without appendage, Nupuraka, ring like creatures with pendants, for example Annelida, Gandupada, knotty legged animals which includes arthropods like Crustacea and Myriapoda, molluscus, certain species such as conch, shakha, pearl oysters, suktika and spiral shelled snails, sambuca. Jalok, leech, Hirundinia, which also belongs to this sensory group. Now, second is animal possessing three senses: touch, taste and smell. This category encompasses animal with a more developed sensory system, adding the sense of smell to touch and taste. These animals exhibit a higher level of complexity in their sensory capabilities. This is the examples, and they are Piplika ants and Rohinika red ants, Upasika ant, Kunthu bug and Tuburuka flies, bug and flies. Next is Trapusbija and Karpas stheca, weevils such as cucumber and cotton weevils and lice. Satpadi and Utpatak, centipedes and springtails. Trinapatra, plant lice insects, and next is Kashtharak, wood destroyers like the termites. Next is animal possessing 4 senses like touch, taste, smell and sight. This category Bhramar, Varata and Sarang, bees, wasps and hornets. Next is Machika, Puttika, Damsa and Masak, depredators, flies and gand and mosquitoes. Vrishchik and Nadyavarta, scorpio and spiders. Keet Patang, both flying and non-flying insects. And now animal with 5 senses like touch, taste, smell, sight and hearing. This category represent animal with the most well developed sensory system, most well developed sensory system, as it includes all 5 senses like touch, taste, smell, sight and hearing. These animals are the most complex and evolved in the terms of sensory faculties. The animals in the category include vertebrates with high developed and active sensory system. Further subcategories are introduced to distinguish between reproductive system or type. Matsya, fish, aquatic animals and breathing through gills, oviparous, egg laying. Urga, limbless reptiles, snake and similar creatures moving without limbs. Bhujang, limbed reptiles and amphibians, lizard, crocodiles and possibly frogs. Pakshi, bird, feathered egg laying animals capable of flight or adapted for other environments. Chatuspad, quadrupeds, 4-legged animal usually giving birth to live young. The first 3 group all fall under invertebrate and correspond to the Svedaj born from sweat and Udbhij sprouting from the ground. The 4th group consists only for vertebrates. So, subdivision of the viviparous group. Umaswati system further distinguishes the 4th group into 2 subgroup of oviparous and viviparous animal based on the nature of their placental development. So, we can understand that these 2 category, there are different types of category which provide information that at that time of period in the Vedic text, in the text of Charak, in the text of Susrut and as well as the Buddhist and Jain text also explain all these animal category deeply. They studied it deeply and on the basis of a long deep observation and their excellent visionary skill, they classify it into different category. Some were related to the birth process, some were related to the habitat style, some were related to their poison, some were related to their medicine purpose. So, these animals are really very important what they understood, and they also understood They are very significant in terms to maintain, in terms to just balance the whole ecosystem of this universe. So, let us see the categories. First one is Andaj, oviparous animal which lay egg. This includes various reptiles and birds or egg-borne creatures including a range of fish and reptiles. It covers snake, monitor lizard, chameleons and garden lizard as well as wall lizard. Aquatic creatures such as fish, tortoise and crocodiles are also part of this category. Second one is Jarayuj. The Jarayuj category refers to placental mammals, especially those with a non-deciduate placenta where the placenta is not shed after birth. This group includes a wide range of animals such as human, cows, buffaloes, goat, sheep, horses, asses, camel, deer, yak, hog, gavya, mithun, lions, tiger, bears, panthers, dog, jackal, cat and similar mammals. Next is Potaja. This group includes mammals with a deciduate placenta which is expelled after birth. It covers species like porcupine, salaka, elephant, hasti, hare and squirrels, sus and saika, mongoose, nakula, rat and mice, musika as well as bats. Now, the zoological concepts in the writing of Panini and Patanjali. Panini defines Shudra Jantu as a small creatures that are either boneless, numerous enough to fill a handful or animals as large as a mongoose. These definitions are considered flawed because they include creatures like the mongoose which possess both bones and blood. The term Shudra Jantu thus covers a wide range of organism from very small creature to animal as large as the mongoose. Patanjali and also Susrut in Kalpasthan chapter 8 state that scorpio can originate from cow dung, snake excreta and decayed wood. Patanjali also believed that both animal and plant life could originate from inorganic matter, citing examples like scorpio from cow dung and durva grass from goat and cow hair, explaining these as transformations rather than true growth. The division of animals according to Prasastapada. Prasastapada, a prominent Vaisheshik philosopher, categorized animal into two broad groups. First one is ayonij, animal that are asexually reproduced and are typically small in size, similar to the Shudra Jantu. And second one is yonij, animals that reproduce sexually through the fusion of male and female reproductive cell. The yonij group is further divided into two group and that is Jarayuj, viviparous animal such as human, domestic and wild quadrupeds. Second is Andaj, oviparous animals such as birds and reptiles. Prasastapad approach modify the Vedic classification of animal, keeping the Jarayuj and Andaj classification but including them under the Yonij division. Small animals are placed under ayonij, asexual reproduction. Svedaj and Udbhij are not mentioned likely because ayonij was developed to encompass these as well. Next is Kalidas depiction of nature and wildlife. MacDonald's praise for Kalidas. MacDonald highlights Kalidas' deep sympathy with nature. His keen powers of observation and his vivid portrayal of the Indian landscape, especially in Ritu Sanhar. Prominence of animals and plant. In his literature, Kalidas' poetry frequently celebrates animals and plants, demonstrating his detailed understanding of the natural world. In Ritusamhar, he vividly brings life to creature ranging from both great to small, like from lions and elephants to pigs, buffaloes, frog, beetle, bees and serpents, etc., capturing not only their forms but also their role across the changing season and reflecting a profound appreciation for animal life in ancient Indian literature. So, on the basis of whole structure, we can say ancient Indian scholars like Charak, Susrut, Umaswati and Kalidas demonstrated a deep understanding of animal life, classifying animals based on reproduction methods, Jarayuj, Andaj, Svedaj and Udbhij. Ancient texts like Ritusamhar blended scientific observations with artistic expression, showcasing knowledge of animal behavior across season. Compared to contemporary traditions, ancient Indian zoological science was advanced in its systematic approach, combining empirical observation, philosophical reflection and reverence for nature, laying the groundwork for future developments in biology. These all structure is very significant in terms to understand the particular animal world existence and their survival for the balance of the nature, and these kind of scientific study what already done by the ancient scholars are the basics of the modern zoological science as well, which is very much important, and the continuity of this science is already seen in this modern science. So, it is really very remarkable and the contribution given by the ancient scholars to the entire world. So, if you want to enhance your knowledge in this particular topic, you can read these references which is mentioned on the slide right now, and thank you very much for your patient listening. Namaskar.